Hi guys, and welcome back to my Penneys week or Primark week for those of you who live in the UK or anywhere else in the world. You guys know the drill at this stage. I do these like week-long videos regularly. I did eBay week, drugstore week, and now we're doing Penneys week. So what are we going to be doing in Penneys week? Today, I'm going to be testing out Penneys new brushes. Penneys sent me a huge bag of their brushes and I want to test them out for you guys. I'm super excited to see these brushes in action. I just want to show you a few of them just for reference. So these are a couple of eye brushes and this is a foundation brush. What I usually do when I'm testing out brushes, I did the same thing with eBay week. I will take my normal foundation, powders, eyeshadows, all those products. All the performance is going to be based on the brushes, if that makes sense, because I already know how the makeup products work. Super excited about these brushes. There's so many different varieties of them. They're like €4 and €3 and €4 for like a natural fibered hair brush and a synthetic one. I just hope that they work out well on the face. They're all numbered, which is amazing. So I'm gonna start by putting my hair back and let's get cracking. I've never been so excited to try brushes before. I think these look amazing. I saw them all in my local Penneys, so they're all available currently, but I'd already received them in PRS, so I wasn't gonna pick up any more. I think I have all of them. So I'm just gonna start with a bit of skin prep and I'm gonna use my Versali Unicorn Essence. Next up, I'm gonna take my L'Oreal Nude Magic Blur Cream and just apply that to my nose and in between my brows and on my chin. And my brows so need to be done again. Why did they just end up so hairy all of a sudden? Like 1 minute they're like all done and looking fierce, and the next minute I turn around and there's like hairs everywhere, all over my brows, just sparse all over the place. So the first brush I'm going to take is this one here. It's their PS Pro foundation brush, and obviously I'm going to use that for my foundation. And the foundation I'm taking today is my Clinique Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. I'm in the shade 8 Golden Neutral. So this is what the foundation brush looks like. It's kind of angled. It's synthetic and this is the number 100 brush. Feels really nice. Not as dense as a Sigma brush. Well, that's blended out the foundation quite well. That's blending out my foundation like a dream. I don't like an awful lot of foundation brushes. Usually the Sigma ones are the only ones that I actually enjoy because I just feel like they're the only ones that actually work well. But hello €4, you're working out seriously well. I'm actually super impressed with that brush. It has done an unreal job. It's done as good a job as my Sigma brushes have. It hasn't removed any coverage from my foundation. It's blended everything out seamlessly on my skin. There's no streaks or lines. So far, so good. Now I'm going to just prime my eyelids. I don't have many eye brushes. I only have 3. So I'm gonna have to use other brushes that I own, but I don't think that's going to really taint my opinion on these brushes. I'm hoping they bring out flat brushes. Maybe they have already at this stage. I'm gonna go in with my Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. Whoops, because I'm just getting an awful lot of use out of this lately and it's just the one that I want to go for. I have a little concealer brush here, which I don't think I'm gonna be able to use in my eye because it's just flat. It's just, I have no purpose for it. So I only have 2 blending brushes, so the rest is gonna have to be done with other brushes. These are 2 cute little brushes. One, like I said, is already natural fiber and the other one's synthetic. I don't know if it's natural hair. It's like synthetic, natural looking hair. I'm gonna go in with the 220 first, and we're gonna go with my favorite transition from this, and this is Silk Cream, and I'm just gonna pop that through the crease. This brush has longer bristles than I'm used to, and I just find the control over it a little bit more difficult. I wish that the brush's bristles were just a little bit shorter. But it is quite nice and it's blending everything out quite well. For like €2, it's doing a pretty good job. I think I could zoom in just to kind of show you this bad boy in action. I think it's doing a pretty good job. I'm gonna go in with this shade here, which I think is called Roxanne. And I'm taking it on that little brush. This is the 230. I'm just gonna pop that directly into my crease. Ooh. Okay, I feel like this is doing a pretty good job of blending out. It's a little bit scratchy, this brush. I will say that much about it. Definitely not the worst brush I've used. There's a tiny bit of shedding from it. But again, it's €2. And I mean, you cannot beat that on price. You really, really can't. I am noticing just a little bit where I applied the initial application of the eyeshadow. You can kind of just see it just kind of grabbed there and it didn't really blend out. So it's definitely the brush, because I've never had that happen with these shadows before. Okay guys, I'm kind of having a bit of issues on this side with that same shade, just kind of blending it out. I just feel like it's quite harsh on my eyes. I don't know if you can see that. It's definitely not the shadows. I've used these hundreds of times before. I use this shade quite regularly. I just feel like it's the brush. So I'm not a big fan of this brush. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not amazingly a big fan of it. And it is kind of getting a bit out of control, the brush already. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit green today since I'm wearing green. So I've decided that I'm gonna take this kind of forest green shade here, Diva. I'm just gonna place this all over my lid. Gonna go back in with that fluffy brush and just kind of blend out any of the harsh lines. And then I'm just gonna add this matte green on the outer V. I'm just going to take this shade here. I'm just going to highlight and place that into the inner corner of my eye. I did find in this eye, I found it a bit difficult to kind of blend out this outer corner here just with that little Penneys brush, but I don't know. This eye's not too bad, I guess. This is my bad eye anyway, so we'll just ignore her. My brows. I need to book to get my brows done today. I feel like Penneys need to come out with a little brush like this. I have no brow brush, so I'm just going to apply my brows with the Precisely My Brow from Benefit off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll sort out the rest of the face. I'll also apply my mascara. I'm taking the Catrice Rock Couture and I'll apply that on my lashes. Next I move on to concealer, and these are the two concealer brushes I have. I have the little small brush here, which is more for spot concealing, I would assume. And then I have the cream contour brush. No, cream contour brush. Okay, this might be a good concealing brush because I'm not going to cream contour today, so we'll check that out. And I'll cream contour another day. Look at that. That will be perfect for getting right underneath my eyes to blend out my concealer. So I'm going to take my Tarte Shape Tape and we're going to test the theory. See, does it blend out my concealer like I would want it to? It's been a hot minute since I've used a brush to kind of conceal underneath my eyes. I generally use my beauty blender, but this seems to be the perfect shape. Yeah, I really need to give this a go with the cream contouring. I'm not crazy about it with the highlighting. I feel like it's kind of taken away some of the product and kind of pushed a little bit of it underneath creasing that I would get underneath my eyes. Obviously we all have kind of like little bits of lines underneath our eyes. It's just not blending out my concealer like I would like it to. I just find it a little bit hard to actually blend out with this brush, but I think maybe for the cream contour it might actually be decent just for applying the cream contour, not blending it out. I'm going to try out this little brush since I have it here. I'm just going to apply a little bit of concealer over this area here where I just have a spot. It's just to see, does this brush actually blend out the product? Well, it did blend out that concealer there. What I would use this brush for, I think, would be for my foundation, just going around little areas around my nose, certain areas like that are smaller on the face, just to kind of get right into, because it's just a nice shape and I just feel like that might be a little bit of a better brush for that purpose. Okay, so I have three brushes here for the face. I have the 105 brush, which is called the large powder brush. I love the look of this. If this works well, this could be a winner chicken dinner. And then I have the large duo buffing brush. This is 101. And then the 186 brush, which is called the powder contour brush. This is a nice brush, guys. I don't like brushes like this to set my face with powder. I love them for contour though, because they just give like a really airbrushed contour. Since I won't be using this with anything else, I'm gonna try this with my powder. Yeah, this brush would definitely be something I'd use for powder. I don't like brushes like this for foundation. They used to be like my be all and end all for foundation. I used to love them for foundation back in the day, but not so much anymore. I feel like that set my face quite nicely. I'm going to use these two brushes for contour. I'm going to just test them out, one on each side, just to see which I prefer. I'm going to take my Kat Von D Shading Light because it's right in front of me and I have no idea where half my makeup is because I've been trying to clean up this room for ages and stuff is in boxes everywhere because I'm trying to declutter. So I'm just going to try and contour with this. Doesn't pick up too much of the product, just picks up quite enough, However, I do feel like it's a bit like dense or something, and you really need to work at blending it out. See, around the temples, this is where I have most of my issues, and I do feel like sometimes this can go a bit patchy. Like now. Oh, that's a little bit patchy, not gonna lie. Okay, that's definitely a little bit more patchy than I would normally get. I'm not keen on that brush for around the temples, but definitely to actually contour the face, it's not too bad. So I'm gonna take the other brush. I love a brush like this. Yeah, I prefer this brush big time. This is just much nicer, and it's not going patchy on my forehead. So I don't know if you can see a difference from side to side. This is definitely a little bit more patchy. This is just blended out a lot nicer and seamlessly. This can be a little bit, like, looks a little bit harsh. I'm just gonna do my blush and then come back and do highlight, because that's the last brush that I have. Just took Milani's baked blush in Luminoso and just put that on my cheeks. And then I blended out some of the brown underneath my lower lash line. I just used a really tiny detail brush just to do that. I've been really loving the champagne pop from Becca lately, so I'm gonna take that today. Oh my god, I think this brush is my favorite. Look at the handle on this. This is the 141. This reminds me so much. Hang on now till I get it. But this is my setting brush that I absolutely love for setting powder underneath my lower lash line. I was gonna say underneath my eyes, and this looks so similar to it, except for this pink one costs like €11 and this one costs $3. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to buy like 100 of these. This will be just amazing for setting the powder underneath my eyes, but I want to use it for highlight today and just apply that. Yeah, okay. This is amazing. I am so impressed with these brushes today, guys. Tried Penneys brushes before and I wasn't overly blown away with them, but these new range, oh, they're just perfect. Guys, if you made it this far in this video, kudos to you. Thank you so much for watching this much. I am gonna go through all the brushes right now and just say which ones I liked, which ones I wasn't overly keen on, and what ones I recommend to you guys. I don't really think, like, overall I had like a negative opinion on any of these brushes. I think that these are actually quite a good collection of brushes. Some of them were better than others, and some of them I find very little purpose for, and I just want to kind of mention at the end like what brushes I recommend for Penneys to bring out, even though they've no interest in listening to me, but you never know. You just don't know. I want to mention like my favorite brush from today has got to be the brush I use for highlighting. It's the 141 brush. This is going to be my go-to setting underneath the eye brush. The second I saw this, I was like, yes, 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 yes. This will also be amazing, or was amazing, for my highlight. And I just feel like a brush like this is something that I reach for quite a lot. Like I said, the Real Techniques one, which looks quite similar, even though it's pink and this is silver. It's a brush that I use all the time. I have about 3 of these and they're all currently filthy because I use them so regularly. So this brush, even though a tiny bit smaller, will be well loved. I'm a major fan of this powder brush. I think it is a little bit more suitable for my contour, the way I like to bronze my face, more so than actually powdering my face. I don't like to powder my face with brushes like this. The contour brush, a little bit, not disappointing, because that is a lie, because it does work well, but it's just too dense for me. It's just not the type of brush that I like. It's great to get the actual initial line started, but I like everything kind of a little bit more blended out. So I would highly recommend it. I mean, they're only €4. I'd recommend go and get them all because they're just so inexpensive. This brush did shed a little bit on me, a tiny amount. Not enough for me to get too upset over. The stippling brush, I would pass on that. I don't like these type of brushes anyway. I wouldn't use it for powder again. I prefer a brush like this from e.l.f., a like flat top brush. Oh my god, I seriously need to wash my brushes. Don't even look at me right now. But this brush is not something I would generally use as powder brush, and I would skip on it. Just for me personally, it's not something I would pick up. The 188, the contour brush, cream contour brush, again, this might be something I would pass on because I've talked a numerous amount of times before how I don't like actually dipping brushes into cream products. I don't really like cream contouring where you actually need a brush to apply it and then a sponge to blend it out. I just prefer actually going in and applying it, like with the NYX Wonder Stick and with my LA Girl Pro Concealed, the darker shades, I just like to just go in with them straight away and then blend out with a beauty blender. So for me, this is probably not a brush that I will use very regularly. I don't like it for blending out the concealer underneath my eyes. I felt like it just kind of pushed the product into my skin and caused it to kind of crease and kind of took away a bit of coverage. But I'd say for application and maybe applying concealer, like just dabbing it underneath the eyes, it might be a good one. The foundation brush, I did really enjoy this. I did, don't get me wrong, it blended in my foundation quite nice, but I did notice that it pushed my product into my pores. I have quite pory skin, like I have lots of pores right here, just all across my face, and generally when I use a brush like that, it kind of can push the product into my pores. However, I find that my Sigma, my curved F80 brush doesn't do that for whatever reason. I don't know why, and my F80 brush doesn't do it either. This is the F83, sorry. You have pores on your face, it might just push the product into the pores, but it did buff out my product quite nicely on my skin. And then finally, the little brushes. So the concealer brush I did enjoy. I thought that blended out the concealer on my skin perfectly. I want to try it underneath my foundation, like for spot concealing. And then the eye brushes, love this one, the black brush, which I didn't think I would. It's great at getting right into your crease of your eye. This brush, not so much. This is the 230. I found it a little bit too scratchy. They come as a set, so you have to kind of get them together. It was a bit too scratchy on my eyes, and I felt like it just didn't blend out. Like this side of my eye is not great because I just feel like it really didn't kind of blend out enough. It's supposed to be kind of similar to your 217 from MAC. Nothing like it. The 217 is ridiculously soft. This one's just a little bit scratchy, bristles all different sizes, and I also find that they're not great quality brush hairs. But I think that's the only brush that I actually had a major fail with today. I think everything else worked out well. And I do feel like Penneys need to bring out a brush like this, a small stipple brush, because I use that for blush quite a lot. I'd love to see them bring out a brush like this. This is an angled brush from Inglot. They obviously need to bring out a flat shader brush. This is my F57 from Sigma, one of my favorite flat shader brushes. They 100% need one of them. I'd love to see them bring out a little pencil brush like this. This is the 49SS from Inglot, just great at getting underneath the lower lash line. A big fluffy brush like this would be great as well, and then a smaller one like with shorter bristles, where, you know, like the Penneys brush has quite long bristles. I'd love something just a little bit shorter. Brought out 6 more brushes like that. I think they would have a full-on collection. For face, I think they can kind of get away with them all. Like they kind of cater to an awful lot of people. I'm just very specific in what I actually like, but that's just my 2 cents. What do you guys think that they should bring out next brush wise? Did you guys enjoy this video? I hope you're enjoying Penneys week so far and that this video wasn't a lengthy one. But if you did stick around to this point, then thank you so much. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Just gets my videos out there and just helps me out so much, guys. You have no idea. Thank you again for tuning in, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Mwah! Bye, guys.